Hey folks, welcome back. It's another episode of Boomer Deepcuts. We had a couple week hiatus and so glad to be back with you again, and we'll explain a little bit of that hiatus because one, we had some supernova stuff I was on the road for, then I got sick, and then we moved into this new podcast studio, and it was great. And it's great. We're back, we're rolling, and we're ready to go, and glad to be bringing another deep dive to you today into another great classic album from the 60s and 70s. And so with that, I think we just welcome in Chuck Yates. Welcome back, Chuck.
Well, thank you. Hi, everybody.
How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
You know, we're just coming off the Boomer Sock Hop. It was just this past weekend. You
Great
got to go.
turnout.
Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, there's just such a crowd, and what we like about it is we finally get to see the people we're talking to, and the affection they have for our station is just absolutely amazing, and we just love it. They really feel a part of it, you know, because we try to make it that way, but it's coming across what we want to come across, and everybody's having a good time. It's a great crowd. They had some tables and chairs, as a matter of fact.
Oh, really?
There were so many people. Yeah, it was great.
Well,
Great time.
and then everybody's dancing, and there were some people that were tearing up the dance floor, I heard.
Crazy. It was a good night. Yeah, it was a really fun night.
And plenty of socks given away, too, to charity, which was also great.
I can't tell you the one because we're having a contest.
I know. Well, and I don't know the number, but there's a lot.
I don't either.
There's a lot. Enough of them for Jack Swanda to jump into a pile of them. So
Wow.
That's a lot. That's a lot of socks. So if you were a part of that, thank you for your charity and for coming out and supporting Boomer Radio. And now we talk about the album that we got this week, Chuckster, because a couple weeks ago, our last episode that we did was Jack Swanda, and we talked about Carole King, and Tapestry was the episode. So this week, it's sort of a semi-similar vein, but it's Joni Mitchell, and it's her sixth studio album, Court and Spark.
No, I'm thinking 74, or was it 76?
74,
Okay.
January 17th.
74. And because I think the first single was released in December.
In December, yep.
Right.
You're spot on.
Well, let me tell you, the thing about Joni Mitchell and Carole King, first of all, Carole King was such a prolific songwriter. She's just almost like a store. Just, you want something? Here you go.
Yeah.
But Joni was, I got to meet her one time when she was with Graham Nash. And she was almost, it's hard to believe sometimes that she was such a star because she is just so quiet and introspective, you know, but her music says it, though. Her writings are unbelievable. And that album, Court and Spark, made a big difference. I mean, showed a big difference in her music stuff because she had been known pretty much as a folk singer, and maybe a little bit of folk rock. But when she got into the jazz thing with Tom Scott and the L.A. Express, it just made a big difference in her music. I think Court and Spark, maybe Blue was the Court. I know what it is. Help Me was her biggest hit. I went up to number 2, I think, in the top 100. But then Court and Spark is just unbelievable album. I spent so much time listening to that album. Just kind of calms you down.
When'd you meet her? Was it an interview or was it backstage?
No. It was backstage. I think she was with Graham like 68 to 71 or 70 or something.
Gotcha.
And I think it was like 69 or so.
And they were in town here in Omaha.
No. This is when I was in San Francisco.
Oh,
and it was a Winterland where they had, I know you're familiar with the phrase the Fillmore.
Okay.
Right? Well, Winterland was twice as big as the Fillmore. But you didn't hear a lot about it because the Fillmore is what made the all the rock on the West Coast and then the East Coast real famous. But if there were crowds were really big, they'd be at Winterland.
What would she do backstage before she went on? Did she do anything?
She didn't. She was just with Graham.
Yeah,
she didn't perform
but I mean,
that night.
I mean, like just in terms of like, did she what sort of things went on backstage in those sorts of environments?
Well, first of all, what I try to tell my kids in my growing up, there was no violence. Absolutely no violence. There was no security backstage. You could go backstage if you wanted, but the cool factor was in. And it just wasn't cool to bother anybody. So I mean, like Jerry Garcia
awesome.
with the Dead would just stand around at the door and say goodnight to everybody. I mean, it was so laid back and so non-threatening that nobody thought about security or anything.
That's such a crazy crazy way to
in that.
put it. Just it wasn't cool to bother anyone.
No, absolutely not.
That is something else.
Everybody needed their own space,
And so you just at that time were you at the radio station or did you just walk back there?
Well, my brother was the general manager of a station called KMPX. That was actually the first FM rock station in the United States other than Hawaii. Now KSAN San Francisco gets all the pub for being like the first, but that's not true. It was KMPX. It was had been a foreign language station making no money. And so my brother and a guy named Larry Miller actually was the spearhead there and talked to this guy about, can we use your radio station and make you some money?
And then he did.
Absolutely.
So sixth studio album for Joni Mitchell at this point in time. Eventually goes double platinum by about the mid-90s is when it gets certified by the RAA, which is the highest selling album of her career.
Right.
Hits number 2, the album did in the U.S., number 1 in Canada, voted the best album of the year in the U.K. in 1974. And then it was eventually taken into the Grammy Hall of Fame, inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2004.
I wasn't surprised about the Canada thing because she's from Canada.
Yep.
And they really embrace their artists. I love it. Like Neil Young and Bachman Turner.
And she had a lot. I mean, she did a lot with Neil Young.
Yeah.
And just over various points in her career. So 70.3 million streams of the album today across all 12 tracks. I believe it's 12 tracks.
Say it again.
70.3 million on Spotify. 28 million of those are Help Me. 11.2 is Free Man in Paris. And then Raison Robbery, about 3 million. So those are the 3 songs, by the way, we're going to hear today. And as it happens, in reverse order. Infusing the folk part, the folk and jazz. I mean, that was such a big part. And I'm just shocked by the amount of different instruments used over the course of this whole album. There's 18 different musician credits on this album, including Cheech and Chong, who are on the last track of this album as just some background voices that they're just adding some ambiance to the track. It's actually pretty cool. They do a lot of creative stuff, and we'll hear some of that today.
Awesome. Great album.
And we're going to rip it off here with Raison Robbery.
Canada reference.
Yep. And this song really rocks in a way that some of the others don't. So you have that electric guitar, and then at the end of the first chorus, here comes a saxophone solo.
That's Tom Scott.
And man, he really rips it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was sweet. And it was interesting because I'm like trying to determine, okay, what, like about 60 seconds of this song do I want to take? In fact, all of these, I took the front end. But that was like, okay. Once I heard that, I'm like, that has to be in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because again, I'm struck by the creativity of it because you have this electric guitar and that adding something that's very different than a lot of the other parts of the album. And then the saxophone right after that.
Well, he, Tom Scott and the LA Express really thanked Joni because them being on her album puts him in a whole different realm.
Right.
And so they just became more popular and had a great career.
So just a couple other notes on the album we'll intermix these. But so in July 1979, Joni did an interview with the Rolling Stone. And she talked about how she had just completed Court and Spark and she played it for Bob Dylan and he fell asleep while she played it for him. But she later, and it goes on to suggest that Dylan was just joking around and trying to be cute because David Geffen, who we'll talk a little bit more about different. And actually with this next track, we'll talk a lot about David Geffen. He was also in the room. He was present at the time. And so she thought Bob was just sort of screwing around a little bit.
Was that Reprise Records?
Asylum.
Asylum, that's right.
Asylum so this was released under that Asylum label. So a couple other notes on Raised on Robbery. It's about a working girl more than likely. I don't think it's about a woman cooking after midnight. But it does set a really, really cool scene of you've got this bar. Which Empire Hotel is the Empire Hotel, right? Like there is an Empire Hotel in Toronto where the Toronto Maple Leafs play, which
right. And when she mentions the guy
song.
looking at that stupid hockey game or something like that.
Yep. In 2005, though, it seems that Mitchell sort of confirmed it was Saskatoon in Saskatchewan.
I'll be darned.
Because all of the songs in this album are set in Saskatchewan.
I'll be darned.
Which would put this in the Empire Hotel in
Now, how can you
Saskatoon.
be telling me stuff I don't know about this album that I've loved for 50 years?
I don't know, just some Google searching.
I like it. Thank you.
So Robbie Robertson, we've been talking about the electric guitar. Robbie Robertson of the band is who's playing the electric guitar in that song. I think that, obviously I think that adds a lot. So one of her most played songs in concert is Raised on Robbery, although it only hit number 65 on the charts in the U.S. That's where it topped out. But her fans love it, and she loves playing it in concert. And it's a great concert tune, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Next here, we got Free Man in Paris. And this one, well, again, much like Raised on Robbery, we'll backtrack. We'll explain a little bit about Free Man in Paris.
Please do.
After we take a listen.
Okay.
So the flute, heavily featured in this song.
Listen to all the guitars.
The way I see it, he said you just can't win it. Everybody's in it for their own gain. You can't please them all. There's always somebody calling you down. I do my best and I do good business. There's a lot of people asking for my time. They're trying to get ahead. They're trying to be a good friend of mine. I was a free man in Paris. I felt unfettered and alive.
There's those harmonies.
Calling me up for favors. There's no one's future to decide. You know I go back there tomorrow, but for the work I've taken on, stoking the Star Maker machinery behind the popular.
That's David Crosby and Graham Nash. They're the backup singers on this song. So
Not surprised.
the free man of the Free Man in Paris is David Geffen, who was in charge of Mitchell's label. So this whole song is about a conversation that they had together in which David had said he can't essentially be free anywhere. People trying to get him to do something as somebody who's running this label and was a record man in the industry, trying to find people to get ahead. He could actually escape in Paris and get away. Not today. I would have a hard time imagining somebody could get away from Paris. They could still call you and text you in Paris today. But 1974, you could get away.
Absolutely.
Geffen, by the way, I did some research. I think he's worth like $9 billion today.
I'm not surprised.
He's worth a ton of money because he got into film production and some of that sort of stuff afterwards. So
I can go to Paris to be free.
And
I would go to Red Oak, Iowa.
Dubuque. So Jose Feliciano, he played guitar on this track. He's working on another project in another studio. Here's the song being played, comes down and says, I want to add to this.
You know, let me interject real quick because you mentioned Jose Feliciano. He may be, I've interviewed lots of folks, and he might have been the best one.
Why?
Don't know. He was just so enthusiastic, and you'd say one thing, and he'd just go on about it and just tell the stories. He was just really a great, great guy.
Those are the best. Well, the ones that you don't really have to work that hard to get the question, the responses out of them, where you can, ultimately, I think when you're trying to do an interview and do it right, you're trying to make sure that you can ask the question as simply as you can,
right,
and then get the best response out of it. And it seems like that's the type of guy Jose was. You could ask him a 2 or 3 word question, he'd give you a great answer. My
worst was, my favorite guy was Paul Kantner. He's no longer alive, but he was one of the leaders of Jefferson Airplane and then the Starship, and his solo album is incredible. Anyway, I got to interview him, and it was all yes, no, just listen, steal. I'd ask him all sorts of different questions. Well, how do you think of the melodies? I steal. But it was just, I had to have 50 questions to make it by 15 minutes.
Oh, no. Those are the worst. Those are the ones that it's like, oh, my God, how do you get through this? Free Man in Paris, Neil Diamond, he recorded the song on his 1977 album.
No way.
And then Elton John and Sufjan Stevens, they both recorded it on their Joni Mitchell tribute albums. So, last one here. This is probably Joni's most famous song.
Help Me?
Help Me, you think?
Yeah, she wrote Both Sides Now that Judy Collins made famous, but yeah, probably so.
Well, let's take a listen to Help Me.
I Think I'm Falling.
Oh, wait, that's
This
a
is
different
for your
song.
sister.
Help me, I think I'm falling in love again. When I get that crazy feeling, I know I'm in trouble again. I'm in trouble, 'cause you're a rambler and a gambler and a sweet-talking ladies' man. And you love your loving, not like you love your freedom.
So chill. I mean, you said it at the beginning. I mean, it's just
so well mixed. Just almost plush.
and just the saxophone fills there.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can definitely feel the jazz influence, not just from the saxophone, but just the call and response.
Oh,
and,
sure. Just
and
the
some of those
chording.
things.
Absolutely.
Who could the person be the song's about? Probably nobody specifically. But if it was anybody, it would be Jackson Browne or Glenn Fry that they were dating at the time in the early 70s.
Glenn Fry and Jackson Browne were dating?
No.
Making a joke.
Dang it, Chuckster. No.
She dated Jackson Browne and Glenn Fry too?
Yeah, around
well, she
that
made
time.
it around, didn't she? She dated Crosby too, along with Graham Nash.
Yeah.
And I probably had a session with Stills once in a while.
So this goes to number 7 on the charts. It's her biggest hit. Mitchell originally
I thought it went to number 2.
finished at number 7 on the singles.
Oh, gotcha.
The album hit number 2 in the U.S.
Good, thank you.
So she called this kind of a throwaway song, but a good radio record is originally what she was saying. But she explained, my record companies, this was a quote from an interview, my record companies always had a tendency to take my fastest songs on an album for singles, thinking they'd stand out because they did on the LPs. They stood out.
Oh, sure.
Meantime, I'd feel that the radio is crying for one of my ballads like this one, and it got a ton of airtime.
Great stuff.
So there you go. There is, there is Court and Spark.
I like it.
And it's a great album, a great mix of a ton of different stuff. Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks recalled taking LSD and listening to this album.
No.
Yeah, I know, that'd be crazy. She said she was with her producer at his house with a set of speakers, and they were taller than the fireplace, and I was at a safe space, and she just sat on the floor and listened to the record. She said, pretty dynamic experience.
Stevie is saying this?
Yes, yeah. And then, it's just crazy because she released an album every year when she started recording, except for 73. That was the year before this album came out. And she spent all 73 working on this.
I can believe it.
And it became worth the wait for Joni Mitchell fans, both,
One of my
both
favorite
then and today.
things. I have 2 daughters. One is an athlete, very educated. And my other one is very educated, but she was kind of a performer. And so my favorite thing was when I got to turn her on to that album. And she just, she loved it as much as I do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So it came out in January 74. Some things that were going on then. On the first of that year, NBC News, they began producing an hourly radio news report 24 hours a day. So they joined CBS in doing that on the first of that year. So that was kind of the start of that coming on. And there was a lot to talk about because this is right in the thick of Watergate. January 2nd, President Nixon actually imposes a speed limit of 55 miles an hour.
The nationwide one?
Nationwide.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
And then Sammy Hagar made $1 million with I Can't Drive 55.
I couldn't live driving 55 either. January 4th is when Nixon refuses to produce 100 subpoenaed tapes for Watergate. On January 12th, The Joker by the Steve Miller Band, that peaks at number 1. Mm-hmm. The 16th, Peter Benchley's novel Jaws is published. Of course, a couple of years later, the film adaptation that we all know would be released. On January 19th, in the sports world, Notre Dame college basketball, they beat UCLA 71-70 to end head coach John Wooden and the Bruins' 88-game win streak.
Oh.
And then Golden Globes on the 26th of that month. The Exorcist wins for Best Drama. Al Pacino wins Best Actor for Serpico. And then Marsha Mason, Best Actress for Cinderella Liberty, her performance there. So Best Actors and Actresses in a Drama. The top songs of this month, and there's quite a few. So Jim Croce's Time in a Bottle started off as number one that first week of the month, then The Joker in the second week. Third week is Show and Tell from Al Wilson.
Oh, wow.
And Your 16, Ringo Starr, was the fourth week of January. So those were the top song on the charts then. And then the top album was You Don't Mess Around with Jim Croce. And then the top film was The Exorcist, which held that spot until March 27th. So about a 3-month reign at the top spot in the box office.
You ever seen The Exorcist?
I haven't. I'm not a horror movie guy. I just can't. I can't do them.
It didn't. I think it may be my faith because they really played it up with. The
they really
thing,
did.
You know?
Yeah.
And I went and saw it and said, "What's the big deal here? I'm not afraid of any of that stuff."
Top shows in '74: All in the Family. Sanford and Son was number 2.
Fred, one of my favorite. I'd seen them all.
Chico and the Man, number 3.
Yeah, that was a good show.
The Jeffersons was number 4, and then Hanging Out number 5 was MASH. So there you go. So there's 74, January of 74, and Joni Mitchell's Court and Spark.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that was a fun episode, Chuckster. Hey, again, if you ever want to reach out to us, deepcuts@myboomerradio.com. And a huge thank you, too, to our sponsor, and that is, of course, Kohl's Pharmacy, Kohl's RX. And then they have a great home care department as well. So anything that you want to do to make your home a safer place, from stuff that can be as simple as a grab bar to as complex as refitting your bathroom, making your shower easier to access, or maybe adding a chairlift. They can do all those things for you. So they are a huge part of what we do here at Boomer, and of course this podcast as well. So please, if you know somebody in your life, or if you need to use their services, reach out to Kohl's today. So with that, Chuckster, thank you again for the time. Thanks for hanging out and sharing some stories.
Sharing time with you, Grant.
All right. I don't know what we're going to do next. We've gone back and forth. We've done a bunch of different things.
Yeah, we went from Thin Lizzy to Joni Mitchell.
I know. Well, I was thinking about that because this era is just so...
Maybe some Jackson Brown would fit in the middle there.
So diverse. This whole era is so diverse with all this different music.
And we play it all here on Boomer,
styles, and you play it all on Boomer.
It's amazing.
I mean...
It's amazing.
And look, I mean, your favorite album... No, okay, man, I don't want to put words in your mouth. But your favorite album, the Boston album, comes out 2 years later, and it's so different from this.
Oh, yeah.
In 2 years, it's just a completely different sound. So, anyway, thanks for being here, Chuckster.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, folks, we'll be back soon with another episode of Boomer Deep Cuts. For Chuck Yates, our producer, my sister, Maddie Hanson, I'm Grant saying so long, and we'll talk to you again as we share more sounds of an era and stories of a lifetime.
Bye, everybody.